The dealership looked like a movie set. Sports cars spinning on platforms, white lights highlighting every curve, champagne in glasses in the VIP lounge, and salesmen in tight suits ready to target only those who looked rich. That's where Aziel walked in. Black, very overweight, face marked by scars from an old accident, wearing a simple shirt and a metallic prosthetic arm on the right side. Some eyes turned away instantly. Others stared just long enough to judge. One salesman almost laughed when he saw the photo on his ID. What nobody in that showroom knew was that the man they treated like a nuisance had already signed papers to buy far more than just a car. As a teenager, Aziel washed rich clients' cars on the sidewalk for a few coins. He learned how to make rims shine, polish paint, and listen to people talk to him as if he were part of the dirt. One day, he went on a cheap test drive in an old car. The brakes failed, the crash destroyed the vehicle, and took half of his mobility. The prosthetic arm and the scars on his face came from that day. Instead of stopping, he dove into the automotive world from another side. He studied mechanics, then logistics, then business management. He built a parts company, then a tech company for fleets. When a big group started selling regional dealerships, the most aggressive offer came from the ugly guy with the robotic arm nobody would ever imagine as the buyer. Aziel decided to visit the dealership as any regular customer. No suit, no luxury car out front. He arrived in a rideshare, stepped out with a simple folder in his left hand, and his metallic right arm fully visible under the showroom lights. The moment he crossed the glass door, he felt the air shift. One salesman adjusted his tie, glanced quickly at him, then took a much longer look at a well-dressed family walking in right behind. "Good afternoon," Aziel said, walking slowly between the cars. "Good afternoon, sir. Feel free to look around," the salesman replied with a canned smile without taking a single step closer. Aziel stopped in front of the most expensive car in the building, one of those on a rotating platform with a limited edition plaque. "Is this one available for a test drive?" he asked. The salesman let out a short laugh. "This model has a very high down payment and a long waiting list. Maybe I can show you another one, more affordable, that fits better with your, sir, profile." A word that sounded neutral but was loaded with, "not someone like you." Aziel insisted, "I'd like to know this one. Can you at least open it?" The salesman grabbed the keys with visible reluctance, but before walking to the car, commented to a co-worker, thinking nobody could hear. "Another one who came just to take selfies and leave with nothing." They opened the car. Aziel ran his hand along the body, examined the interior calmly, asked technical questions. The salesman gave short answers, checking his watch, almost counting down until he could go back to the real clients. When it was time to run some numbers, they asked for his ID. The finance guy, young and full of confidence, looked at the photo, then at Aziel's scarred face and muttered, "Wow, the picture actually looks better than real life, huh?" He waved another employee over with his finger, like he was sharing a meme. "Check out this ID. Looks fake." Both of them laughed quietly. "Do you have proof of income, sir?" he asked out loud. "These cars require a very strict analysis. Not just any paycheck qualifies." Aziel took a slow breath. He could have dropped numbers on the table right then. He chose to hold them. "I don't think I'll buy anything today. I was just getting to know the place," he said. He stood up, feeling eyes follow the prosthetic arm, the stomach, the scars. In the back, one of the salesmen commented openly, "People like that come in, dirty the floor, and scare off the ones who came to actually buy." Aziel left in silence. But he didn't leave empty-handed. He carried every word as evidence. 2 days later, the atmosphere in the dealership was completely different. The manager rushed from one end to the other, checking if every car was perfectly aligned, if the coffee in the meeting room was fresh, if the sales team's suits were flawless. "Attention, everyone," he said, gathering the staff near reception. "Today, some big names are coming. A representative from the manufacturer and an important investor who can change this store's future. I want smiles, professionalism, and no mistakes. Salesmen exchanged looks, some fixed their hair, others sprayed extra cologne. It was photo-op day for the boss. Inside the glass-walled meeting room, 3 people from the automaker were already seated with folders and laptops. Only the investor was missing. The manager checked his watch, walked to the door, and peered outside, expecting to see an imported sedan, a luxury SUV, anything that visually screamed power before the driver even got out. Instead, walking through the automatic door came the same black, heavy man with a scarred face, simple shirt, and glowing prosthetic arm. No suit, no car parked in front, no owner look in their minds. "Good afternoon," Aziel said in the same calm voice. The receptionist almost answered on autopilot. "Sir, the test drives..." But one of the manufacturer's reps stood up immediately. "Mr. Aziel, we're glad you're here. We've been waiting for you." Silence fell over the showroom. The manager's eyes went wide. Salesmen looked at each other, desperate for context. "That's him?" someone whispered. "That's him," the rep confirmed. "The investor acquiring a stake in the group and deciding this store's next steps." Aziel entered the meeting room and, instead of choosing any random chair, walked straight to the head of the table. The manager, pale, forced a smile. "Great to have you here, Mr. Aziel. If we'd known you were coming, we would have prepared a proper welcome." Aziel rested the metallic arm on the table, letting it make a dry sound against the wood. "You did prepare a welcome," he replied. "Exactly the way I needed to see it. How you treat people who don't look like perfect customers." The room suddenly felt smaller. Outside, some salesmen pretended to adjust cars, but were clearly trying to hear through the glass. The manufacturer's reps started their presentation. Charts, sales numbers, regional potential, the importance of the dealership's image. After a few minutes of corporate talk, one of them handed the floor over. But before any final decision, Mr. Aziel asked to speak directly with the team here. The manager swallowed hard. "Of course, we're at your disposal." Aziel didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. 2 days ago, I walked in here with nothing but a folder. No one knew who I was. I asked about the most expensive car on the floor and got pushed towards something more affordable. You made jokes about my ID photo. You questioned whether I could afford anything here at all. He pulled a small voice recorder from his pocket. "I work with fleets, risk, logistics. I learned to record what matters. Listen." He pressed play. The room filled with their own words. "This model has a very high down payment. Better to look at something in your reality. Another one here just to take selfies and leave with nothing. People like that come in, dirty the floor, and scare real buyers away." The manager put a hand to his forehead. One salesman turned bright red, another went ghost white. "I lost an arm in a car with broken brakes," Aziel continued, "and I still love this world. But I learned one thing. The problem is never the machine. The problem is who's holding the wheel." He looked at each of them. "You think you sell machines. What you really sell is how you treat people. And that was the last thing I found here." Silence. Then he called the receptionist by her name, the only person who had looked him in the eyes and given him a genuine good afternoon on the day of his visit. "You, the only one who treated me like a human being, will be trained as the new customer service supervisor. I need people who see people, not ideal profiles." He turned to the manager and the salesman involved in the jokes. "As for you, you get to choose. Either you go through heavy retraining and step away from the front line for a while, or you can walk out today. In the dealership where I invest, the ugly guy with the robotic arm might be the strangest one in the showroom. But he's the one who decides who stays and who's out." News spread fast. The luxury dealership that once turned its nose up at Aziel became an internal case study for the brand, not for its shiny floor, but for the day they learned that the man who didn't look like he belonged was actually holding the keys to their future. Aziel spent his life hearing he didn't look right for most things. He didn't look like a premium customer. He didn't look like a businessman. He didn't look like an owner. His facial scars, his big body, and his robotic arm were, for many, just more reasons to point, laugh under their breath, and treat him with impatience. But those marks are exactly what helped him remember every day where he never wanted to see anyone pushed out from again. Basic respect. When the money came, he could have locked himself inside an air-conditioned office watching numbers rise on a screen. Instead, he kept walking in alone to places that pride themselves on exclusivity, wearing simple clothes, collecting the same dirty looks that once almost made him quit everything, because he knew the real test of any place is not the car it sells, the lights that shine, or the spotless floor. It's how they treat the body that most people wish wasn't there. Maybe you've also been the person who doesn't look like they fit where they are. Maybe you've felt tolerated, but never seen. If Aziel's story touched something inside you, write in the comments, "It's not my face, it's my value." Subscribe to Unstoppable Underrated. Share this video with someone who keeps being measured by their looks, and not by what they carry in their soul, and maybe in their bank account too.